Boom! And we are live. What's going on, y'all? General Moses in the building for another episode of Dream Chasers here, powered by House of Hustle. For more information on House of Hustle, go to houseofhustleltd.com. We're joined today by Jenn Getz and Alfie. In my mind, some tool room legends. I'm sure they'll be able to tell us about their tool room journey here today. That's how I found them, discovered them. But obviously, they're doing their own thing as well, coming to us live from Dubai. A lot of fun stuff to get into here today. So Jenn and Alfie, we'll have to figure out. I know you guys have done a few shows before, like going back and forth between you two, like who's going to talk next. We'll figure that out as we go. But I know Alfie was here first on for recording, so we'll start with her. Alfie, could you just tell us, like, a little bit about your background, your story, and then like how you eventually met Jenn, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. So I've been DJing for about 9 or 10 years now. I started off in the UK, just coming up through the UK club scene, really. And then I got offered a residency in Dubai. So I made the move. I've been in Dubai now for about 4 years. Met Jenn 3 years ago, I think it was. 3-4 years, and we met during COVID, so during a time where we couldn't really DJ. So we just started like messing around, doing back-to-backs in like empty restaurants and things like that. And then here we are, kind of snowballed into this Jenn Getz and Alfie phenomenon.
Well, that there you go. I'm happy we're starting with the story because from an outside perspective looking in, you guys definitely carry yourselves as if you've known each other your whole lives. I didn't know this was a COVID creation, if you will, and it looks like it's going pretty well. Jenn, I mean, shifting over to you too as well. Where are you from originally? Alfie told a little bit of how you got connected, but tell us your background story as well.
I am originally from Surrey, which is like just outside of London. And obviously our story is the same from Dubai, but just before that I've been DJing same 10 years, and I was in Bali for like 5 years. That's where I learned. And then I moved from Bali to Dubai, and then I've been here 8 years, coming on 9 years, and then we met in I think it was 2020. We met, and then we just started jamming, and then it turned into this.
Yeah, I mean, to me that's fascinating. I've personally entered into this world of DJ music production through the roots of producer. I went through Tool Room Academy, and while I was in the academy, you guys were like some of the hottest names on hitting Tool Room for the first time. Like the junglist, that was my vibe. But just to hear that you guys have both put a decade of work in until finally getting connected, and then kind of taken over as a very well known duo out of Dubai. It sounds like music really was the main pull there. I know a lot of people from around the world go to Dubai for different things. It seems kind of like a huge city for a lot of opportunity just internationally right now. Is that accurate? Was it really purely the music that brought you there, or was there something else that kind of was always calling you to Dubai?
Do you want to go, or should I
go? I think that Dubai is a land of opportunity. I think we've been here, like now people are starting to get it, and they're moving here, and like Ushuaia, all these huge clubs from the Ibiza scene, they're all moving here. But where we've been here for a long time, we've been really lucky to get some opportunities which allowed us to kind of make our way and practice doing. So we started at a nightclub, Soho Garden. We used to open for Jamie Jones, Mark Knight, all of these people. Every weekend we would do like 2 a weekend. So we really were lucky with the opportunity that we got to really like learn how a dance floor works in all these different genres. So I don't think anywhere else in the world we would have got that chance every single weekend to be doing that. So I'm grateful forever for that.
Same vibes, Alfie?
Yes, sorry, there's a mosquito in here and it's really like flying around. Sorry.
I thought you were raising your hand to talk.
No, it's really, I don't want it to bite me. So basically, I moved over purely just for the music. I got the opportunity to do a residency. I'd never really known about Dubai before that. You see people go sometimes, but it wasn't a massive like place where I'm from. Like it wasn't really a big thing for people to go there. Obviously, Ibiza was the main point. But I think once I got here, there is definitely a scene, and over the years that I've been here as well, the scene has grown massively. Like there's an underground scene, there's a commercial scene, there's all the different genres, and it's just growing like year by year.
It's honestly wild. Like on a weekend, there's like Peggy Goo and Carl Cox on the same weekend, or there's like Jamie Jones and Defected on, like Paradise and Defected are like on the same day. It's like honestly, it's insane the amount of like people, and everyone wants to play here because obviously like the money is better for them, and like they call it the Dubai tax and stuff. But yeah, the scene
Sure,
is crazy.
Wow. I mean, I'm just genuinely curious now too. You guys dropped some big names that you opened for, rubbed shoulders with. As I mentioned, there was one episode of Tool Room Radio in particular I remember where you guys kind of shared your story and like how you had like a kind of come to Jesus moment with Mark in like a parking lot, and he was like, you can do anything you put your mind to. Those are such. I mean, even that being an iconic moment for you guys almost was like an iconic moment for me just hearing it, because it sounds like you just enter into this realm where you get to start rubbing shoulders with people that you probably looked up to for years. So like, tell us about that experience. What is it like getting to, open for Carl Cox, talk to him, hang out with guys like Mark? Do you feel like you're just a part of the gang now? Like, is there any other DJs or producers out there that you want to get to know better? Just walk us through that experience.
I think going from like club DJ and bar DJing, and then entering like the big super clubs over here, that in itself was like a massive change. And then when you start to warm up and support these big acts, it's almost like something. It's like a pinch me moment. It's like, am I really just opening for Jamie Jones? Like, what's happening? And I think you just have to use and take that opportunity as best as you can, because you don't know if it's going to happen again. Like, so when we did meet Mark, like it was really helpful to have a chat with him, get his advice. Like the first time we met Sonny Fodera, we made sure that we played an unsigned track, so he would hear it when he came into the booth, and then he signed that track. So it's just using the opportunities that you've got and kind of working with it, and then appreciating like every week you get to do this. It's like massive. Like people dream of doing this.
Facts. You got anything on that, Jenn?
Yeah, I was gonna say like that was our little trick. Like we always do it. We always play something unsigned before whoever comes into the booth, and then go, do you like this one? This one's ours. We're looking for a home for it, and it has worked on a lot of occasions. But like just everyone's so nice, and like I think we've just really learned so much from those opportunities, and like we hop in and out of different like sub genres when we have to do it, and it's kind of nice because when we first started doing it, we used to do like the really opening, and then as we'd been doing it for longer and longer, then we used to do like just before whoever was playing or just close for them. So we got to do like the best slots, and we like worked our way up to that, and then obviously the venue trusted us, and that was a really nice feeling because we'd always wanted to do that. But had they have put us at that slot, right at the beginning, we maybe wouldn't have been ready for it. And now there's so many DJs that like when they play before us now, that they just like haven't mastered the warm up, and it's like just that energy of like warming up the dance floor. And I think we're so, not to toot our own horn, but we've had so much experience that I feel like we're really good at like changing and doing that. And I think that's so important. I think it's really rare as well. Like we've really done the air miles in that sense.
It makes me feel like I've got such a long journey to learn how to work a dance floor right now, but I love it. It is, for what it's worth. Thank you guys, because I'm soaking up all this wisdom. What from a manifestation perspective, who's a big name or just a name in general? It doesn't have to be a big name, but someone that you guys feel like you've always wanted to collab with, whether going back to back live or creating a record together.
Why
Why don't we do both? Why don't we do both? Who you want to make a record with? Who you want to go back to back with?
I think, to be honest, mine changes like monthly, depending on who I'm listening to or what like label I'm into at the moment. Like right now, I think my favorite person to listen to right now is probably like Sydney Charles, like that kind of genre. It's just putting out banger after banger. But then there's also people like Sammy Vergie, who's like smashing it. And it would be so cool to do something different and collab on like a different level with his kind of sound. But honestly, I think anyone is open. Like,
Is there room for a third or fourth body in the booth?
we're only small. We're only small. It's okay.
We've done a few back-to-backs with Lovra recently, which have been fun. But I think it's just so hard to give names specifically, like what Alfie said, like things are always changing and then you like discovering new people. So I think it's kind of hard to just give certain names and in that sense. I just think like anyone that's like on our level and it just, works with and is creative and artistic in the same way that we are, like whenever we get in the studio together, we like bounce off each other. When we're in the booth, we bounce off each other. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's all about energy really, rather than like just like songs that people have put out. It's, you can create something energetically rather than like, with the yeah, if that makes sense.
And I think as well, we're also fans. Like, I love like certain people and I'd be like, oh my God, I'd love to like collab with you, because I still get like starstruck over people in the industry, because like growing up listening to all the music and then you get to work alongside these people, like I'm still a fan of music at the end of the day.
I think it's I was going to say, I just think it's like mental sometimes because we live like here, and it's like people remember us maybe more than they would if it was in London or the UK, because it's a more memorable experience, and then we get to like kind of hang out a bit more than maybe you would in any other situation. So like we played at Forbidden Forest in the UK last summer, and Dom Dollar's like walking past and he's like, "Hey girls," like he remembers us because it's like there's two of us for one, like a lot more memorable than one, and then just like the Dubai thing. So I think it really works in our favors. But that's like kind of mad when people that you've looked up to for so many years and like, have been playing for so many years, and then they're like, "Oh, Jenn and Alfie, hey," like it's just mental.
That's a really good point. The Dubai thing, because even just getting to know you guys up until this interview, that's the only thing running through my mind was like, I got to make sure I get them a time on Dubai time.
Yeah.
So like, it's so memorable because I'm sure you guys know other DJs that are active, in the city. But as far as my awareness is, it's like you guys are the, queens of the city. So like keep on rocking it.
The queens of Dubai.
That's right. What was what was a moment? I know you mentioned getting together in 2020. But was there a moment between then and now where you guys you kind of looked at each other, whether it was virtually or at a show, and you're like, damn, like this is working. This is good. And if there was a moment like that, tell us about it.
That I always remember. So we always wanted to, like, I know this sounds really funny or silly, but we always wanted to like stand on a DJ booth and like jump around a bit. And we played at Rugby Sevens last year, which was like 15,000, and that at that point that was our biggest crowd. And we did a sound check, and we'd never played on a speaker system like that big. So we did a sound check like the night before, and we were like, "Oh, can we stand on this?" And then like the next day, like we were all nervous, and then so we were just like having a drink or whatever. And then we were just playing. It was a sea of 15,000 people, and we just like looked at each other and we were like, "Let's get on the fucking deck." So we got up and we just like were jumping around, and there was like all these people, and I I remember there's actually a really nice video of us. We like look at each other and like dance to each other like from the other side, and it was just it was a really special moment. That.
Hey, Mark, we're at about like the half hour mark here. We got to make sure we find that video Jenn's talking about. We'll plug it into the interview here. Alfie, would you echo that, or you got another moment coming to mind?
Yeah, that was like a really goosebumps moment. And then I think it was this year as well. At Elro, we played
I knew you were going to
Elro
say that. I was going to say that.
Festival in Chicago, and who was it? Jay Warrer came on after us, and she put the music down and she like did like a clap for us, which was really lovely. But then the crowd also like cheered, and I think that moment, like I think there's actually a video of me and I'm like, I'm gonna cry, because it was just like a confirmation that, oh my god, like we did a really good job. Like the crowd reaction, like it felt like we were appreciated for being there. And I think coming from like doing all these warm-ups and things for other people, and then to have a crowd actually appreciate us was a really nice feeling. Like it was really emotional, like proper.
I love that for a lot of reasons, but one, I mean, Mark, on that one too, we got to find the video of Alfie crying or us crying. Plug that in right here. Elro, I mean, talk about definitely, I feel like for a lot of us, DJs, a pinnacle moment in your career, like, confetti and just inflatables flying everywhere, right? Have you guys done more than one Elro show now?
Yeah, we did the first one in Dubai like 2 years ago, and then when our agent told us, basically she didn't tell us until it was like all confirmed, and then she just kind of like sent through the offer and was like, you guys are playing Elro in Chicago, and we were like, what? This is like wild. And that would have been my second moment to say as well, because also for us, we'd never played in America before. That was our first of 4 shows in the weekend. And our first weekend, like our first tour in America was like so amazing. And like Elro was the first one, and we kind of rocked up to Arc, and we had this like proper like green room trailer with our names on it, and like the crowd at Elro was full, and it was just like, wow, like this is real,
Like Chicago's like the home of house music as well, so it's just
right.
like, whoa, insane.
Iconic moment for sure. So I want to dive into this one, and this is probably a more biased question because I'm from the States originally, Cleveland, Ohio, to be specific. Jenn, I know before you hopped on, I was telling Alfie I'm based in Toronto, so I know you guys were just
nice.
had a good time over here.
We did have a good time.
I've heard Mark talk about this. I've heard Estelle talk about it on Tool Room Radio recently too, and just a lot of DJs, right? Is North America? It's a pretty fun place to play, right? Like the fans are kind of like on another level. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I feel like that's what I keep hearing is like North America's energy is just huge.
I think every show we've done so far.
You can make fun of me if you want to.
No, every show we've done so far has been really good. But I think actually our favourite from the run so far was the Toronto show, because it was like the After Hours Club. But yeah, no, America has been from the shows we've done so far. It's been amazing for sure.
Yeah, Canada's flying the flag.
Yeah.
So Canada takes the cake over the U.S.
so
right
far,
now.
So far.
Okay, well I'm here, so I'll take it. I'll take it. That's funny. No, I heard Mark in an interview basically say like, if he could kind of have it his way at this point in his career, if he could just tour the U.S. and then like, that would be it, like he'd be very happy. So once I heard that, I'm like, let me just confirm that with everyone I talk to. But I mean, I definitely want to go to Dubai. So I
think that every country you go to, the crowd is like totally different. Like the UK crowd is so like festival crowd is so different to America. And then like, because obviously we grew up in the UK and we know like the UK music scene, but then in America, like they don't really have, or until recently, garage, which is what we've grown up for. And like the tech house scene in America is extremely different to the UK. Like the scene in Dubai is way different. The scene in Ibiza is way different. Like So I think it's every single, country that we play in, Prague, wherever, it's so different, so we're just learning that as we do more.
Yeah. Okay. That's really interesting. Could you describe some of the differences that you noticed, like between the two? To me, the UK is like, I know Chicago's where it started, but like, I feel like house music, like, became kind of what it is now because of the UK. But I don't know. I'm genuinely curious. What do you mean it's different from place to place?
Do you want to go, Alf?
Oh yeah. So UK crowds are, not being biased, but I think they're the best crowds purely because, like, they just go hard. Like, they just go for it. Like, UK festivals are mental. Oh, don't know
I'm
how I did
sorry.
that.
I was thinking with the
I don't know
something
how
just
I did
happened in
that.
my mind too.
But yeah, like UK festivals compared to an American festival are very different. Like UK festivals are a lot more raw and gritty and like
Loads of drugs.
What more or less?
More. Oh, I think more.
Okay.
UK festivals, like, people are feral.
feral.
I'm
That's
already
the word.
being converted here already. So keep going.
But the American festivals, like, they love it and they're really like, they're proper enthusiastic, but I think it's a lot more polished as such.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably a good word for it. Like,
Yeah.
very put together, very well put together, whereas UK festivals are just like proper. Let's see.
More raw. Okay.
Yeah.
Love to hear that. Yeah, I now I have, my perspective has already changed just on the spot like that. I've always wanted to do, like, I've told my wife, like, if we could just go live in London for 3 or 6 months, that'd be really cool. So I think
But
we're
go in the summer, though, because it's not very nice in the winter.
sure.
The summer's
Well,
amazing.
we're in Canada, so it's not probably too different, but
True.
fascinating. Okay, well, aside from the UK and the US, what's another country that you felt like really really brought the energy in a way that you weren't expecting?
What's that festival we did in, not Prague? What's the other one?
The Czech Republic.
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't Prague. Yeah, the Czech Republic was good. That was a good festival.
I've seen you in Latin America recently. Maybe it was Mexico.
Oh yeah, we played
Tulum.
Tulum. That was fun, actually.
Yeah.
That was actually crazy. I think it was some kind of spring break time or something.
Yeah, it was spring break. Yeah.
Yeah. We weren't really sure what to expect, but we got there and it was packed. It was so full. And
It was
people
one
were
of those.
just ready for it.
It was one of those ones where we were like, "Now we're not going to drink tonight," and then it was like really, really busy, and then we were like, all right, we'll have a Corona.
What if you guys weren't DJing, weren't producing music, what do you feel like you would be doing right now?
I would be in Bali doing some like holistic healing or something like that, something spiritual and hippie.
Sweet.
And then probably like trading Bitcoin on the side to pay for my life.
I don't know. I think maybe still something within the industry. Like, I'd actually love to do A&R just because I literally listen to music so often that I feel like, not that my opinion matters, but I could like do an A&R for someone or something like that. Or I'm really getting into editing at the moment. So like the social media side of things, like I'm really into that. So maybe some kind of, I don't know, social media marketing. I don't know. I haven't done anything apart from this for a long time. So
Well, if it was like in the industry, then maybe like artist liaison, I feel like would be fun.
oh yeah, that would be cool.
Is that like agency?
No, it's like when you go to like a show or festival, it's like the people that look after the artist. So like when you get there, they meet you and then they like look after you the whole time. I feel like that would be like a cool job because you get to hang out with all the people and like, yeah, I feel like that's probably a cool job to do.
Sure. Yeah, you could kind of be like a connector as
Yeah.
well. What what do you guys have like any rituals before you go live? Or anything you feel like you always make sure you do, like secret handshake, anything?
I've got one thing. We always, well, not always, but a lot of the time we listen to like 90s R&B music.
Oh, we do. Actually, we do. Yeah.
Like when we were in LA, we went to this like rooftop bar and it was just like this like hip hop DJ. And like we just like love it. I feel like it really pumps us up, which is fun.
Like old school R&B, like
yeah,
none of the new stuff, like 90s.
we
vibes.
always we were in Bahrain as well. We had our speaker and we were just like we choose a song each and we like cue it and then basically we just like dance like losers to R&B before we're ready to go on stage.
Yeah.
Oh, so 90s R&B. That's like, is that like Boys to Men stuff?
No, like
More
no,
like Ashanti, Jarrell.
Cassie.
Yeah.
Bit of Burna Boy. I love him, but he's not 90s.
Bit of 90s.
Janet
Like
Jackson.
old. Like old Neo, old stuff like that.
Yeah.
On the note of doing things outside of music, do you have a skill that you kind of wish you could always master? For me, it's cooking. You know, I'll admit I'm not the greatest, but like, what's like one skill you kind of feel like you wish you could always master? Or maybe you still have time to, now that we're talking about it.
That's a hard question.
I think for me,
go ahead.
so when I was younger, both of us, when we were younger, were dancers. So I think, like, I'd love to still do something like that, like even just like take a class locally or whatever. But the only dancing I do now is like two-stepping behind the booth.
Wait, what kind of did you have to do, like ballet or hip hop dancing, or what'd you do?
Yeah, well, we actually like had the same, like when we met, we kind of told each other like our backgrounds and they're basically the same. Like we're the same height, same age. We both have a background in dance. Like I did 15 years ballet, tap and modern, and you did the same, right?
Yeah, more the ballet contemporary hip hop
Yeah,
side
contemporary.
things. Yeah. So we both like grew up as dancers from really young age.
We always say that we should take a class just to see, like 10 years later.
I know. I want to know if I could still do it.
Yeah, because I feel like now it's like ruined being a DJ because all you do is like two-step all the time, and like I don't know if I could be like really sexy or like like do street dance anymore. But like I would have a go.
So I have a daughter who's about to be 8 months old now, so she's quite a ways away from it. But I don't know, growing up, I always felt like there's cheerleading, and then there was like, because I played sports too, so like at halftime, the cheerleaders would come out and do a thing, and then the dance team would come out and do a thing. And sorry to anyone in my life who's listening who's been a cheerleader, the dance team always just completely blew the cheerleaders out of the water. And I was like, that's cool. They always dance to cool music. Like Mia, my daughter, if you ever listen to this one, like, you know, you can do whatever you want, girl, but the dance one is cooler. So you maybe get some lessons from these two.
Do you know why I think it's so good? Because you, from a young age, learn to like count music without even learning that you're doing it. So then you always have this like really good relationship with music, which is not like a chore. Like if you tried to learn in your 30s to count music to a bar of 8, it would be hard if you didn't have any, you know, rhythm. But learning from like when I was 4 years old, just ballet, it teaches you like how to count music and also like discipline. So I think that's really like amazing that we both, you know, did that. It's like we've both had music in our lives since we remember, you know.
That's a really good point. Counting music.
Yeah.
You know, 4 bars, 16 bars. For me, I learned how to play piano when I was like 8 or 9. Don't do it anymore. But you're right. Like from especially I think production perspective too, it definitely comes over. Good observation. Nice. Well, who's someone that you guys felt like really influenced you to get into DJing back? Because you said you're both doing it for about a decade before you met. So, what was the influence there, Alfie, and then over to Jenn?
So I think it was when I was like 18. One of my best friends was the DJ in the bar that I worked at, and he used to play. It used to be like R&B. It wasn't house at all. And I think watching him and how he like controlled the crowd, and like how us as like bar staff, we just used to love it. We just dance all night long whilst we were making drinks. And then one day he was like, "You should do it. Like you used to dance. Like you should probably get it really quick." And that's kind of what introduced me into actually DJing. Was just him. Like I think he's like maybe 40 now. Sorry if I got that wrong. But
He's listening right now.
he might be listening. But yeah, I'll always owe that to him because he's the one that introduced me and brought me in on it. And he's so knowledgeable of like music and stuff, and taught me so much about DJing and education of music and stuff like that. So I think that was my very first influence in terms of getting into this kind of industry.
Yeah, that's really cool too, because I think a lot of times when you ask that question, you expect people to be like, "Oh, Avicii inspired me." Or you're like, "No, this DJ from the bar I worked at is literally the one who gave me the confidence."
It's more of a personal thing for me because that's where I was every single day, like working at the bar, like when I was 18, and I would just literally watch him and listen and learn. And I think it was just more of a personal thing for me.
I get it's actually like very similar also because I used to manage a boat party in Bali, and I went on so many boats I can't even tell you. But I would sit next to the DJ like up on the ledge, so I would just like kind of like watch what he was doing. And he played on tractor, and he used to play like R&B for most of the boat, and then when the boat would stop, he'd play house music for an hour. So I was just like watching what he was doing, and then he kind of started just like teaching me, but like it was 3 boats a week, so I was just like watching. And then one day he was like, "Why didn't you play for an hour today?" And I was like so scared, even though no one was on the boat. And then it kind of went from that, and then I just downloaded a Jacking House album like from like iTunes, and I actually got a plane to Singapore to go and buy some like decks, like a controller, and like brought it back with me and downloaded Jacking House. So when I first started like mixing, I was mixing like Jacking House, and it was all like Hannah Wance's old stuff. So for me, like that was a huge like influence, like Jacking House, which is quite funny.
That's cool. So I mean, yeah, similar story. And I for a moment there I'd forgotten you mentioned you were in Bali? You were in Bali for 10 years, you said?
No, I was in Bali for 5 years.
Okay. But
Yeah.
It was the boat party that brought you there, or how did you first
I left home when I was like 18. So then I basically traveled Asia and lived in Australia, and then I just ended up like being in Bali and getting this job. So it was a bit of like random events that happened in my life, but then ended up there. Yeah.
All right, so here's the $1 million question, which sometimes this does lead to millions of dollars, and I'm sure you guys have thought about it. Maybe it's already a thing and I just don't know it. Is there a Jenn Getz and Alfie record label slowly being created?
I mean, it's definitely something we've talked about.
Yeah,
sure.
It's definitely, yeah, there is. The answer is yeah.
We'll leave it there as a teaser. Nice. I mean, Alfie mentioned thing about A&R earlier. I'm like, I think I might know where this is going. That seems to be the kind of the evolution of every successful artist, from my perspective too. So I'm looking forward to whenever you guys feel like you're able to share more about it. We'll bring you back on, to talk about it whenever you're ready. So, where's a venue that you guys feel like you've always wanted to play at but haven't had a chance to go to yet?
I think for me, is like some of the iconic venues in Ibiza, like Pi or Ushuaia. Like when we get to do that, that'll be amazing, and we will do it, at some point. And I think that will be like a really big thing for sure. And I would love to play. I want to play in Bali, like as a artist, so it's like a big, full circle.
Yeah, I think also in terms of like playing certain brands, like I'd love to do like a boiler room
Yeah.
session. That would be insane.
Amazing.
And yeah, like Ibiza, there's obviously still ones that we want to tick off on the bucket list. And Miami space would be insane.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Have you seen that Instagram reel going around where it's like every boiler room has this one person, and it's like the person
Yeah, I have.
Mark, find that clip. Let's get that in here. We should move it. Nice. Man, you know what? I had a really good question here queued up, and I let it slip. But let's talk. I mean, do you guys do you see yourselves also wanting to do this? For the next 2-3 decades? Do you think if you were to have another career outside of music, like for example, I know Mark's really getting into football right now. Do you see you guys ever doing anything like that? I know you mentioned getting back into dance, but I'm just wondering if there's anything else you've ever thought about.
I don't know. I think for me, because sorry.
We got to get the mosquito on the mic.
Oh my God, it's so annoying. For me, it took me so long to get into this industry and this career. Like I managed to make my passion my career. So I think if I was to do anything outside, it would be more like going into like the management side or the label side, or like I don't know, working for an agency or something like that. Like it's really something that's like my passion, and it's the only thing that makes me happy, really. Like outside of that, I worked so many jobs. Like before that, like I was in offices, I worked for McDonald's, I did this, like everything. And then once I got into it, I was like, I'm not letting this go because I can't go back to the office.
Not going back to McDonald's.
No. I did love it, but but no.
I think that basically the aim is like to grow our brand, as big as we can get, and then we can decide like the umbrellas that we take off that, you know what I mean? Like whether it is, a record label that, when we're old and grey we can run, or like just like make your name in the industry, for doing something a bit different. And we're on our path of like figuring that out, and all the music that we're putting out or we will be putting out next year is going to be like a lot more mature. And I think just something in music, definitely like under our brand or a brand that we create, whether it's something else or, whatever. So yeah, definitely within, but there isn't really an age limit now, but I can't imagine DJing at 70. So
yeah,
that you need to put your roots in early and then just allow them to grow throughout the years. And then when physical DJing isn't a thing anymore, you've already set up your brand, and you can go from there and do something different.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there with the branding piece. You build a big enough brand at that point. You can do whatever you want with it. And I do find it inspiring as someone who, I'm 33 now, and I kind of just began this career. I have a day job, if you will, but like this is something that I've always wanted to do. I've always loved it. And to know, to your point, that I could do this till I'm 90. You got guys like Mick Jagger, shout out to the UK, right? I think he's still performing.
I think he is, yeah.
It's just like, artists don't only when they decide to hang it up is it over nowadays, and that is it's a nice reminder.
I think it is easier though for men to be older and do this. Like I think if you're gonna think of like all the middle-aged men on lineups, or like older than 40, there is a lot of them. But when you think about the women, I couldn't probably name more than 5 big female acts that are over 45, but you could reel off 30 men. Do you know what I mean? So it is different for us, and that's like a reason why we did join together to do this together, because it is something different. And so women in this industry, like you do face certain, different treatment or whatever. So even just by saying that out loud, you name 5 DJ females that are over 45 and that are still getting booked and performing, like I bet you can't, easily without Googling the age.
You are absolutely correct. I will not challenge that statement at all. But I think that, with the awareness of it now, and it seems like the way the industry is going, you guys could, if you wanted to, could be some of the first ones that, keep it rocking as long as you want to.
I hope so.
Let's manifest that, everyone.
Yeah, let's do that.
You're gonna see Jenn and Alfie. If they want to, we're gonna see them perform live at age 80. You heard it here first.
We're doing a reunion tour at 70 when one of us is about to die.
We're talking about how the industry is like shifting and changing. It really does seem like a lot now. Like where do you guys see the future of dance music going from your perspective?
Someone interesting. Do you know what I'm about to say? At ADE, the conversation that we had.
So many conversations.
So someone very interesting said that there isn't like a middle female artist. Like female artists are either like, from a booker's perspective, they're either like
the cheer
or really expensive. Whereas like with males, it's like, small, medium, large in terms of like monetary value from the promoter. So, and I'd never thought about it before, and it was a really interesting conversation. And he was like, you're either like a 2K act or you're a 20K act, and there isn't really any females that you can book in between that. So I thought that was quite interesting. But there is a lot more like women, coming up, and there is a lot more support in women coming up. I just think that it's going to take a lot of time for it to, even out. And I think, yeah, I think it's positive change, but I think the actual change will take, a really long time.
Well, I'm pushing for you guys to be, 20, 30, the premium product. This is the premium product here, world. So pay them $50,000 on their next one. You heard it here first on Dream Chaser. Now you guys are doing great, and it's cool that you're bringing attention to some things that I think you're right. A lot of people have just kind of, maybe whether it was intentional or not, really paid attention to until recently. So, what is something that you guys are working on right now? We should be pretty live with this interview pretty soon. So, like, what's to close out 2024, coming into 2025? What are you working on now that you're super optimistic about?
We've been in the studio a lot lately. Actually, now that the summer's done and the craziness of that, we've actually been in the studio quite a bit. We've really like honed in on what we want our sound to be. Because I think it's really easy for people to kind of pigeonhole you into one sort of sound that they think you are. But I think, sorry. By the end of this,
you got to give that mosquito. You get Mike.
when I get off this call, I'm gonna get the spray out. But I think the stuff that we're working on at the moment is really gonna solidify like where we want to be and the sound that we want to put out, whether that's by the end of this year or the start of next year. But it's definitely going to be like a bit of a shift in terms of who we are as an artist.
Yeah, like I mirror that. Like it's just all about music now, and getting ready for like the next runs and stuff like that. Like musically, I think we've just been really creative, and we've just been like trying loads of stuff out, and instead of like finishing something and sending it to a label like straight away, we've gone back to it 6 months later, and we've worked on it again. And like last night we were in the studio together, and we just totally changed a song that we made 8 months ago, but we like totally changed it, and now it's so much better than it was. So I think, yeah, just like really like exploring where we're going, but also just maturing our sound, and also not being scared to step out boxes and have one tune a certain way and another tune a certain way, but like all under the umbrella. Because I think if you can do that really well, people have been doing it well, I think it's really like cool.
Yeah, as far as finding or refining your sound, just want to talk about that briefly. How have you guys seen your sound evolve? To me, my observation more and more becomes it's something that's always changing. It's always evolving. It's almost like you never really truly find your sound. You get close to it, and then once you're so close to it, you're like, oh wait, let's try this. So how do you feel like your sound has evolved over the last 4 years?
Oh, I mean, even in terms of the stuff that we play out, it's completely different to what we first used to play out.
Yeah.
Like, I listen back and watch some videos of what we used to play out, and I'm like, no, why are we playing that? But I think it's all about like education as well. Like, the more we expose ourselves to music and expose ourselves to different DJs and different events or different environments, like the more influences you get. And I think that's where we're at now with this sound, is we're taking on all these different influences and inspirations that it's making this new kind of energy to our music, and it's just a way mature, more educated sound, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it also like where we've been playing, you know, what we actually want to play now. We've started making stuff for the dance floor like that we would actually play. And then yeah, I think it has, our sound's definitely changing. But yeah, it's always going to be changing because things change constantly. So, you know, this year and next year will be totally different as well. So it's just all part of the journey, isn't it? And it's fun to like listen back to all of the stuff and just think, wow, look how much we've changed, and even like in our production and, you know, everything.
Plus, there's two of us, so it's two different brains like coming together as well. So there's always going to be like changes and differences because we've got two different ears and things.
Yeah.
And you know, like you said, with the two brains kind of coming together, I know sometimes that it can create challenges, but it can also multiply your efforts, right? So it looks like the multiplication is popping off. I'm sure you guys, you know, you have a few moments where you want to strangle Jenn, you strangle Alfie a little bit, but that's love right there, right? So all I got to say is, again, I think you guys were really first put on my radar around almost 3 years ago, I guess now, whenever Junglist came out, you know, and as someone who I feel like I kind of got to get my weight up, get my clout up a little bit, play a few more gigs, just get out there more. But it definitely, I'm planting the seed now. Junglist, that's like the vibe of my sound currently. So if it still is, when the time is right, would freaking love to remix that record right there.
Oh my god!
Oh, nice. Yeah, do it.
So I guess I'll follow up with you guys on that at the right time. But for now, thank you everyone for tuning into another episode of Dream Chasers, your home for house music. We're sponsored by House of Hustle. Go to houseofhustleltd.com for more information. We were joined today by Jenn Getz and Alfie. Jenn and Alfie, one more time, could you let everyone know who's tuned in right now the best way to follow up and get in touch with you guys?
Hit us up on our socials at Jenn and Alfie. 2N. I don't know what I was saying there. And yeah, we've had a great time. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us. Can
Absolutely.
I say as well, the first time I heard of your name was actually at a Tool Room event where Danny Reese played your track.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And I went over to him and I said, "What is that song?" And then I played it out in like Bucharest or something because I was like, "It's such a good song." Was it like More Dollars or something?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
I literally was like, "Who is this? This is a great track."
That freaking made at least my week so far, Alfie. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a sick song.
Thank you. That's my first ever record I made, and I got lucky enough to get it signed by Tool Room.
Yeah,
so.
you played it in Romania, definitely.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, Romania. Such a good tune.
Sweet. Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you guys so much for investing, your most valuable resource with us here today, your Dubai time. We really appreciate it. And guys, again, check out all the information in the show notes. Go follow them. We'll catch you in the next episode. Remember, in all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.